mosaic floors, and you name it. More important than that, the floor that we have seen there was laid in 1916-17 using the same mosaic stone that Lena used in her church in year 336. So the floor looks as if it is 1700 years old because of the stones, but it's the pieces that they use. And the picture there, huge, beautiful one, shows us Mount Ararat, things that relates to Armenia. There are Armenian. There is a country called Armenia, I think you know that. So when you look at it, at least one of them is, I know that. But there is an inscription in the Armenian language which says that we dedicate this floor to those victims of the Turkish massacre of the Armenian people. I don't know if any one of you remember that in 1915. The Turks are not denying the massacre, but they are saying the Armenians are exaggerating with the numbers. The population was 1.5 million. How could we have killed 1.5 million? As if the number is what counts. You know what I'm trying to say? Another thing is we have a small order, not in size, in population. And it's mostly religious institutions. They have a big cathedral dedicated to St. James. And they are interesting people. Yeah, very interesting people. People want to know more about the Armenians. I mean, I'm not now, like 20 and 30 years ago, we didn't know much about them in here. And the TV stations like Israeli TV ended up interviewing some of them and, who are these Armenians? Why a small community of Hendricks owns one part of the old city? That's $1 billion, if at least, if not more. So they started getting closer to them and interviewing them. And one time, this Israeli TV goes to the Father Superior, the man in charge of everything in the Armenian quarter, and have him for an interview. And they ask him questions. Remember the Jewish Holocaust, the Armenian massacre? There's some relation, right? And the Armenian guy says to this reporter, do you know that when Hitler decided to do his awful things about the Holocaust, one stood up and said, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Do you think that the future will say bad things about them? Do you think that the future... He was, what about what we in the future to come will think about the German? Barbarian, And he said, don't worry. Hitler says to this guy, don't worry. People tend to forget. And he says to him, I challenge you, bring me one person that remembers the Armenian massacre. It happened in 1915, the Holocaust started in 1939. And they couldn't find one person that remembered the Armenian massacre.
That's why they're doing some excavating to try and find more stuff from the time period. And one sec. Wait, slow down, stop.
And these are the tombs, which she says are from like 300 BC or older.
Did you hear that? 300 BC or older those tombs are.
And one of them is the tomb of Absalom, who was the son of Solomon.
Solomon the Wise. You know, famous story about chopping the baby in two. Apparently that makes him wise. Yeah.
His son tried to, do you remember the story? His son tried to have an uprising against him, and the soldiers chased him away, but his long hair got caught in a tree and he got dragged back, and then one of Solomon's soldiers killed him. And Solomon was so upset that he built a big
tomb for him.
Big tomb.
Pretty impressive tomb.
And this was done in the tomb.
That was built about between 20 and 18, 17 BC. That's more than 2,000 years old. This mountain top, this level of the palace is above sea level. This one is almost on sea level, and this one is below sea level. And when you stand, we're not going to do that. If you walk, you see where this, what do you call them? Steps, covered and open. 163 of them that lead you from the up, down, down, up. Okay? Many of them survived as well. And, if I may this way, we came from that side. This is the east, there. And we saw underneath, not exactly here, but behind us, some of us, if not all of us, the cistern, the reservoir. I said, have a look, because the big ones that can hold up to 10 million gallons are on this side, on that side. How did we end up with the water which we stored in here, up here? I mean, it's one thing to have it here, another one to get it up here. The main thing was to get it here, but still up here. We know that he had some reservoirs on top of the mountain, as well as small one on the east side and big ones on the west. We know that. And he tried to keep them, all of them, filled up. And they used, of course, first the ones on top. When they ran out, they drove from there, then from here. How did they get the water from here mainly? Some suggest this way. You see this gate here? There's a gate, the tower and the gate. You see how it steps? Of course, this is not exactly the shape. It comes.
Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the pool. For an angel went down at a certain season into the water, and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in, was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he saith unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Jesus saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath.
The Jews therefore said unto him that was killed, It is the Sabbath day, it is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed. He answered them, He that made me whole, the same said to me, Take up thy bed and walk. Then asked they him, What man is that which said to thee, Take up thy bed and walk? And he that was healed wist not who it was, for Jesus had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Afterward Jesus findeth him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole, sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee. The man departed and told the Jews that it was Jesus which had made him whole. And therefore did the Jews persecute Jesus, and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. But Jesus answered them, My Father worketh hitherto,